believe, if I'm not mistaken, we've just managed to get Randy Caballero. He's in Palm Springs. He's probably out running in the mountains. Now, this young kid, Randy Caballero, he's only 20 years of age. He's a little featherweight, but he's just, just starting to pick up. Plus, he's just had this fantastic period sparring with Nonito Donaire. Let's get. You know what? We speak to anybody on this show. We speak to young kids. We like young talent, no matter where they're from. Of course, if they're Bulgarian and they speak Bulgarian, it's not so good for the listeners. But let's get Randy Caballero on. Randy.
How you doing? Thanks for having me on the show.
No, it's my pleasure, Randy. Now, Randy, you've got a bout coming up in early March, but forget that, because tell me what it was like inside Donaire's training camp, training there in Vegas. That was fantastic for you.
You know what? It's like I said, it's the greatest experience. Sparring with someone with the talent he has, the ranking he has right now, being one of the best fighters out there right now. He's in the pound for pound best fighter in the world right now, and that feels good. Me knowing I'm in the ring. Like I said, when I first helped him out, when I was in San Francisco with him, helping out for another fight, it didn't really hit me until I was literally in that ring, and the bell rang, and he was walking towards me. I'm like, wow, I'm really here, and that's when I knew, I have what it takes to, be here in the pros, and that's one reason why we turned pro, because I was sparring him before I turned pro.
Okay, so you figured if I can handle him. If I can handle him as an amateur, I'll go pro, and then I'm only going to improve. Tell me this, Randy. Does he give you advice? Does he give you after your training, or when you're having you're sitting around? Does he give you any tips, any advice?
Oh yeah, you always have to listen to what people have to say, and especially coming from Nonito, all the stuff he's done through this sport. Hearing stuff from him is something great. I listen to everything he tells me. He gives me a lot of advice, telling me what I have to do to stay focused in the sport and stuff like that. But you know what? I take everything he tells me, and it does work for me.
And when you come back from a good training camp, especially one with a great fighter like Nonito Donaire, you feel like a better fighter, Randy. Inside, you know you've improved during that 3-week period.
Oh yeah, definitely. Knowing that you're in that ring with him, giving him good sparring, going 5 rounds with him, it feels real good to know that I'm in there with him.
So, Randy, just tell us when you're out next. When are you boxing next?
It's March 4th, right here in hometown at Fantasy Springs Casino. It's going to be on Telefutura. I'm going to be co-main event. Hopefully everybody can watch it.
But listen, Randy, we'll get you on again. We'll maybe get you on in 6 months when you've had another 4 or 5 fights. But I wanted my listeners here in Britain to hear you. That's Randy Caballero. He's an unbeaten featherweight from the Coachella Valley in California. That's where Palm Springs is. And if you think that's a bit odd, we might look back on this in about 3 or 4 years and say, when you watch him on Sky bashing up someone in a world title fight, and you can go, hold on a minute, I remember then. That was that kid that was on Bunce's show all those years ago. I hope so. Good talker, 20-year-old American kid. I like that.